Focus is not a talent, it's a decision, and winners make it daily. Most people don't fail because they lack effort. They fail because their focus is scattered. They chase everything and finish nothing. They wake up with good intentions but end the day frustrated, wondering where their time went. If that sounds familiar, then this message is for you. The truth is, if you want to build a strong, successful life, you need to learn how to focus like a winner. That means cutting the noise. That means being ruthless about your time. That means doing what matters, especially when it's hard. This isn't about motivation that fades tomorrow. This is about building habits that last. In this video, you're going to learn productivity tips that actually work. Real, daily actions that help you take back your time, your energy, and your results. No complicated tricks, just clear strategies that anyone can use to focus better, work smarter, and move faster. Stay locked in. This could be the shift you've been needing. Chapter 1. Lock in on one goal and eliminate everything else. You don't need 100 goals. You don't need 20 directions. You just need one. One goal that matters. One decision that shapes everything else. One direction that forces you to get serious. That's where focus begins. It's not about doing more. It's about removing everything that doesn't help you win. People try to do everything at once. They wake up overwhelmed. They start the day with 15 tabs open in their brain, and then they wonder why they never make real progress. The truth is, if everything is important, then nothing is. You can't focus like a winner when you're chasing too many things. The winners, those who actually move forward, those who build, those who grow, they decide what matters and they stick with it. You've got to ask yourself right now, not 10 things, one. What is that one area in your life that, if you fixed it, if you focused on it, if you put in the effort, it would change everything? That's your starting point. And when you find it, you hold on to it with everything you've got. Now, once you've got your one, the next step is elimination, ruthless elimination. Anything that doesn't serve that goal, you've got to cut it out. Don't manage distractions, remove them. If your phone pulls you away from your goal, shut it off. If people around you are pulling you into gossip, drama, or laziness, distance yourself. This isn't about being rude, it's about protecting your future. And I'll tell you something. This step is hard. It takes honesty, it takes courage. But winners don't build their lives on comfort. They build it on clarity, and clarity comes when you remove what's not necessary. Most people fail because they keep carrying things that should have been dropped a long time ago. They try to build focus while dragging distractions behind them. It doesn't work. Focusing like a winner isn't just about working hard, it's about working smart. It's about making decisions that clear the path. If you wake up and you don't know what your day is about, how will you ever control your time? You've got to decide the night before what matters most. You've got to start your day with that one thing and then protect it. Don't give your best hours to things that don't matter. Don't waste your best energy on scrolling, chatting, or worrying about things you can't control. Winners live with intention. Every hour has a purpose. Every action has direction. They're not perfect, but they're focused. They know that success doesn't come from random effort. It comes from consistent effort in the right direction. And here's what you've got to remember. Focus gives you power. When your attention is divided, you feel weak. You feel scattered. You lose confidence. But the moment you cut the noise, the moment you lock in on one goal, you feel it. You feel that energy come back. You feel stronger, clearer, more in control. That's the power of focus. But here's the catch. You've got to fight for it. because everything in this world is designed to steal your attention. Your phone, the news, endless entertainment, the pressure to do what everyone else is doing. But the winner says, "I know what I'm here for." And that one sentence changes everything. Focus isn't just a tool, it's a mindset. It's a way of living. It means you say no to 100 things so you can say yes to the one thing that really matters. And that one yes, it moves your life forward. It builds confidence. It creates results. You'll notice something when you truly focus. Your stress goes down. Your productivity goes up. Your results get better. Why? Because you're not wasting energy switching between 10 things. You're giving everything to one thing. And that one thing gets done. I'll give it to you straight. If your life feels stuck right now, you don't need more motivation. You need more focus. And that means choosing what to ignore. That means simplifying your goals. That means living with clarity. You're not here to impress everybody. You're here to build something that matters to you. That one thing you've been putting off. That one thing you keep thinking about. That's the thing you need to lock in on, not tomorrow, today. Start small if you need to, but be consistent. Focus for 30 minutes without distractions. Then make it an hour, then 2. And you'll start to feel the difference. You'll start to feel proud of yourself again. Because here's the truth. Deep down, you already know what matters. You already know what you should be doing. You've just been letting noise get in the way. It's time to cut the noise. It's time to focus like a winner. And when you do, everything changes. Your energy changes. Your progress changes. Your belief in yourself grows. And the best part? You stop chasing goals and you start achieving them. You stop surviving and you start building. But it all starts with a decision. One goal, one path, one focus. Choose it. Commit to it, protect it. That's how winners live, and that's how you take your life to the next level. Chapter 2. Train your mind to stop chasing easy tasks. Most people don't realize it, but the reason they stay stuck has very little to do with talent or luck. It has everything to do with the fact that they keep choosing what's easy. They wake up and instead of facing what matters, they reach for what's simple. They avoid pressure, they avoid challenge, they avoid growth. Not because they can't grow, but because they've trained their minds to stay comfortable. That's the trap. And if you don't fight it, you'll live your whole life chasing low-effort tasks that make you feel busy but never get you anywhere. Easy tasks are addictive. Checking emails, rearranging your desk, doing little things that keep your hands moving but your life standing still. They give you the illusion of progress. You feel like you've done something, but when you look up after a full day, you're still in the same place. Winners don't fall for that. They train their minds to look discomfort in the eye. They understand something most people don't. The hard thing is usually the right thing. Your mind is like a muscle. Whatever you repeat becomes your pattern. If every time you sit down to work you pick the thing that feels light and effortless, your brain learns to avoid resistance, and over time that becomes who you are. You become someone who delays important decisions, who skips the deep work, who hides behind quick wins. But the person who wants to grow, really grow, understands that real power comes from doing what most people refuse to do. You've got to retrain yourself. Not just your schedule, but your response. That moment when your brain whispers, "This looks hard, do something easier instead." That's the exact moment you need to push forward. Don't listen to that voice. Challenge it. Interrupt it. You've got to teach your mind that hard things are not to be avoided. They're to be attacked. If the first thing you do when you feel discomfort is to escape, then discomfort will control your life. But if you learn to stay with it, if you learn to sit down and focus even when you don't feel like it, you begin to build something most people never develop: inner strength. And once you've got that, you're dangerous. In the best way. You don't need more time, you need more focus on the real work. The uncomfortable work. The deep thinking, the big moves, the conversations you've been avoiding, the actions you know you need to take. That's where your life starts to shift. Most people don't need a new system. They need a new standard. And the standard is this: do the hard thing first. Every morning when you start your day, ask yourself this one question: what's the one thing I don't want to do today that I know I need to do? That's where you start. That task, the one you keep delaying, is the one that will grow you. It's not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to push you into who you can become. It's tempting to keep yourself busy with things that don't demand much from you. They're safe, they're predictable, they don't challenge your identity, but they also don't move your life forward. You want to win? Then you have to stop treating comfort like a reward. The real reward is growth, progress, self-respect, and those things come through challenge. Training your mind isn't about being perfect. It's about building mental habits that guide your behavior. You've got to recognize the moment you're settling and snap out of it. That moment when you reach for the easiest task, when you start procrastinating by being busy with unimportant things. That's the moment you have to call yourself out. You've got to say, "This doesn't serve me," and then act on something that does. The brain loves routine, so build one that builds you. Create an environment where hard work isn't just expected, it's normal. Make it your identity. Make deep work your default. Give your best energy to the work that actually matters. If you train yourself to do the uncomfortable every single day, eventually it becomes your edge, and that edge separates the average from the exceptional. Success is not about being constantly busy, it's about being busy with the right things. And the right things usually require more thought, more energy, more courage. So, stop choosing tasks that keep you invisible. Do the ones that make you grow. Choose the ones that scare you a little, that stretch your limits, that force you to think, that make you sweat. That's where you find out who you really are. You'll feel resistance. That's normal. It's not a sign to stop. It's a signal that you're in the right place. You're not supposed to glide through life. You're supposed to shape it with your hands and your decisions. And nothing shapes your future more than your ability to do the difficult thing, even when everything in you wants to avoid it. When you stop chasing easy tasks, something shifts in you. You feel more alive, more engaged. You stop drifting, you stop wasting time on things that don't move the needle. You begin to gain momentum. And momentum is what changes lives. Not random effort, not temporary motivation. Momentum born from discipline and deep focus. So if you want to focus like a winner, you've got to do what winners do. They don't wait to feel ready. They start, they move, they work through discomfort. They don't waste their time pretending to be productive. They lock in on what matters and do it, no matter how they feel. That's the standard. That's the path. You're not here to chase comfort. You're here to build something meaningful. And meaningful work is rarely easy, but it's always worth it. So next time your mind looks for the easy way out, pause. Choose differently. Train yourself to lean into the hard things. That decision, repeated daily, will change everything. And one day, without even realizing it, you'll look back and realize you no longer chase what's easy. You chase what's right, and that shift is the beginning of everything you've ever wanted. Chapter 3. Force yourself to start before you feel ready. Most people are waiting. Waiting for clarity, waiting for the perfect timing, waiting until they feel ready, and that's exactly why they stay where they are. They don't move forward because they're waiting for a signal that never comes. They want to feel confident before they take action. But the truth is, confidence doesn't come first. Action does. And if you're serious about changing your life, you've got to force yourself to begin long before you feel like you're ready. The feeling of readiness is a trap. It keeps people stuck in preparation mode, planning, thinking, overthinking. They tell themselves they'll start tomorrow, next week, or once things are more stable. But deep down they know the truth. There will never be a perfect moment. Life doesn't pause so you can feel comfortable. It keeps moving. And if you want to grow, you have to move with it. You'll never feel fully ready to start something meaningful. That's what makes it real. That fear in your chest, that hesitation in your mind, that resistance you feel, it's all part of the process. That's not a sign to wait. That's a sign to begin. Because the longer you wait, the harder it gets. Delay turns into doubt. Doubt turns into fear. And before you know it, you've spent months or even years talking about what you could do instead of doing it. You don't need more information. You don't need more preparation. You need to take one clear action. It doesn't have to be massive. It just has to be real. Something that puts your mind and your body in motion. You'll figure things out as you go. Nobody starts with all the answers. They start with commitment. The people who build something strong aren't the ones who waited for all the pieces to line up. They're the ones who decided that movement was more important than comfort. You've got to become someone who acts, not someone who waits. And you do that by setting a new standard for yourself. When you get an idea, you act on it. When you feel resistance, you lean into it. When fear shows up, you don't retreat. You push forward. Not because it's easy, but because you've made a decision that your future matters more than your feelings. And here's what happens when you start before you're ready. You grow faster, you learn quicker, you start to trust yourself. You begin to build something most people never build, real inner belief. Not the kind you get from talking, the kind that only comes from showing up when it's uncomfortable. Every time you take action when it's hard, you send a message to your brain. I can do hard things. I don't wait. I move. It's not about rushing. It's not about being reckless. It's about understanding that movement creates clarity. Action reveals what works. Sitting still never does. You'll never think your way into success. You've got to move your way into it. And that begins the moment you stop asking for permission and start choosing progress. Start before you have all the answers. Speak before you feel perfectly prepared. Take the step even when you're unsure where it leads. This is how you build momentum. This is how you separate yourself from the people who talk but never do. And it's not about being fearless. It's about doing it scared. It's about acting through the nerves, through the discomfort, through the fog of uncertainty. There's a shift that happens when you make this your new habit. You stop being controlled by hesitation. You stop being owned by doubt. You stop negotiating with your dreams, and you start becoming someone who makes things happen. Not next month, not next year, now. You can either spend your life waiting to feel ready, or you can train yourself to move while it's hard, while it's uncomfortable, while your hands shake and your voice trembles, because that's where real change begins. That's where you meet the strongest version of yourself, not in the comfort zone, but in the courage zone. The truth is, the people who achieve great things didn't start because they were ready. They started because they refused to let fear run their lives. They made a habit of action. They stopped waiting to feel good. They knew that most progress starts with tension, with discomfort, with challenge, and they embraced it. You've got to become someone who builds momentum by force, and that takes discipline. That means making yourself do the hard thing while your brain tries to talk you out of it. It means working when you don't feel like it, showing up when you're uncertain, giving your best before you feel like your best is even available. And the more you do that, the more you'll grow. Start now. Not after the fear fades, not when you're more confident. Start while the doubt is still there. Start while your hands are still unsure. Because that version of you, the one who moves through fear instead of waiting for it to disappear, that's the version that transforms everything. When you look at people who are building great things, you'll see a pattern. They've learned to lead with action. They've trained themselves to feel fear and still move forward. They don't wait for signs, they create them. They don't wait for motivation, they create it by doing. And they don't talk themselves out of it, they talk themselves into it. Not with false hope, but with bold movement. The voice in your head will always look for safety. That's how the brain works. It's wired for survival, not success. So if you're waiting to feel ready, you're not lazy. You're just human. But you've got to rise above that. You've got to recognize that the feeling of unreadiness is not a stop sign. It's a starting point. That's where the growth begins. That's where the story changes. And years from now, when you look back, you won't remember every plan you made. You'll remember the moment you stopped waiting. You'll remember the time you took action while it felt hard. You'll remember the power that came from doing what most people wouldn't. And that moment will be the turning point. So start now. Start while it's uncomfortable. Start before it makes sense. Start before anyone else believes in you. Start before you believe in yourself if you have to. But start, because once you do, everything begins to move, everything begins to shift, and you'll never want to go back to waiting again. Chapter 4. Make your environment support deep mental work. The way you design your environment will either support your growth or quietly destroy it. It's not just about motivation or mindset. It's about what surrounds you every single day. Your surroundings shape your decisions, your focus, your discipline. If your environment is full of noise, clutter, distractions, or temptations, no matter how strong your intentions are, you'll struggle to stay consistent. You'll lose energy trying to fight against what's pulling your mind in too many directions. But when you build a space that helps you focus, you unlock more of your potential. You create the conditions for deep work, the kind of work that actually changes your life. Look around the place where you spend most of your time. Does it calm your mind or pull it in different directions? Is your workspace built for clarity? Or is it full of things that keep you reacting instead of thinking? Most people don't pay attention to their setup. They live and work in environments that constantly interrupt their attention. A phone that buzzes every minute, a desk stacked with things that don't matter, people coming in and out, notifications lighting up, music playing that doesn't support focus. All of that adds up. It drains your ability to concentrate. And without concentration, progress becomes difficult. To do meaningful work, you need a meaningful environment. You need a place that reminds you who you are becoming, a space that speaks to your discipline, not your distractions. This doesn't mean it has to be fancy. It means it has to be intentional. You don't need expensive tools or a high-end office. You need a clean, quiet, and organized space that's built for one thing, helping you go deep without interruption. Start with your physical space. Remove the clutter. Take away everything that isn't helping you think, work, or create. You'll feel it right away. When your environment is clean, your mind starts to quiet down. When there's less noise around you, there's more room inside you. Every object you remove is one less thing your brain has to process. That's energy saved, energy that can go into the work that actually matters. Then look at your digital space. Is your screen full of icons and tabs that don't need to be open? Is your phone next to you while you're trying to focus? Do you have messages coming in while you're doing something that requires full attention? If so, you've got to take control of that. Turn off notifications. Close apps that distract you. Set clear boundaries around when and how you use technology. Your phone should not be the first and last thing you see every day. Your time deserves more respect than that. The people in your environment matter just as much as the space itself. If you're surrounded by people who don't value growth, who interrupt you constantly, or who drag you into conversations that waste your time, you've got to protect your energy. You don't need to cut them off, but you do need to create clear space between their habits and your goals. Let them know when you're working. Respect your own time enough to say, "I need this hour to myself," and follow through. Deep work is rare because most people never give themselves the space to reach it. They stop every few minutes to check something. They allow distractions to creep in. They start a task but never stay with it long enough to go deep. That's why they feel tired but unproductive. That's why they stay busy but don't feel progress. If you want to break that pattern, you need to build a different environment, one that honors your focus and protects it. You have to make your space a place where excellence is expected, where half effort isn't welcome, where your goals are visible and your time is respected. Put reminders in your environment of why you're doing what you're doing. A note, a quote, a vision written clearly, something that brings you back when your mind starts to wander. Your surroundings should work like a silent coach, guiding you toward your best self every day. This isn't just about being productive. It's about building a life where your surroundings match your intentions. You can't talk about wanting focus while living in chaos. You can't speak about clarity while surrounding yourself with confusion. Your space must reflect your standards. If your goal is deep work, then your environment must be built for it. No excuses, no waiting. You build it now so your future self can thrive in it later. You'll start to feel the difference. You'll notice your mind doesn't jump around as much. You'll start finishing what you start. You'll feel a deeper connection to what you're doing. Your thoughts will slow down, but your results will speed up. That's what happens when you protect your attention. That's what happens when you give yourself the environment you need to go all in. This isn't about perfection, it's about preparation. You prepare your mind by preparing your space. You send a message to yourself every time you sit down in a clean, quiet, focused area. I'm here to grow. I'm here to do something that matters. And that message, repeated daily, creates a powerful identity. Design your environment so it works for you, not against you. If your room is messy, clean it. If your desk is crowded, organize it. If your phone distracts you, move it. If noise pulls you out of focus, block it. If people waste your time, create space. You are responsible for building the space that supports your future. Nobody else will do it for you. This is how winners think. They don't leave their focus to chance. They build it into their lives. They create systems and spaces that make discipline easier. They know that deep work doesn't come from motivation. It comes from structure. And structure starts with the environment you're in right now. If you want to focus like a winner, then your environment has to match that desire. It has to reflect the seriousness of your goals. It has to support your mind, your energy, and your actions. You're not here to get by. You're here to become someone extraordinary. And extraordinary focus begins in an ordinary room that you've built with purpose. You don't need permission to change your space. You don't need everything to be perfect. You just need to start. Clear one corner. Create one system. Build one habit that protects your attention, and then expand it. Bit by bit, you'll create a space where your mind can breathe, your energy can rise, and your work can go deep. This is where the real growth happens, not in more tools or more tips, but in the space that lets you do what most people won't. Focus with full intensity. Give yourself that space. Give yourself that chance. That's how you win. Chapter 5. Design your schedule around your peak focus hours. Most people waste their best energy on the wrong things. They don't think about when they do the work, they only think about how much they can cram into a day. But real productivity isn't about doing more, it's about doing the right work at the right time. If you want to perform at your highest level, you have to learn how your brain works, and then design your schedule to match it. You can't keep treating every hour the same. They're not. Some hours give you power, others pull it away. Your job is to protect the hours when your mind is sharpest and use them to do your most important work. Think about your day. There's a certain time when you feel more alive, your focus gets sharper, your thoughts are clearer, your energy feels different. That's your peak zone. That's not a coincidence. That's your natural rhythm showing you when you're built to create, think, and solve problems. The problem is, most people never stop to figure that out. They let the day run them. They say yes to every request, and before they know it, their best hours are gone, spent on distractions, meetings, and low-value tasks that don't move their life forward. You've got to flip that. You've got to start owning your hours. Not just filling your time, but organizing your time in a way that brings out the best in you. That means identifying your peak focus hours and making them non-negotiable. You use those hours to go deep, to build, to think, to execute. You don't answer messages, you don't multitask, you don't scatter your energy. You shut everything else down and give those hours your full presence. That's how real progress is made. It starts with awareness. Pay attention to your energy. Track your focus for a few days. Notice when your brain feels strongest. Is it early in the morning, midday, late at night? Everyone's rhythm is different. Some people are clear-headed at 6 a.m. Others hit their stride around noon. Some lock in late at night when everything is quiet. Don't copy someone else's schedule. Build your own based on how you work best. Once you know your window, protect it like your future depends on it. Because it does. Your peak hours should be treated like gold. You don't waste them. You don't let distractions eat them. You use them to handle the work that requires the most thinking, creativity, or problem solving. These are the hours that will make the biggest difference in your results, so you give them your full respect. You don't plan low-priority tasks during that time. You don't have small talk. You don't run errands. You do the work that matters most. You'll start to notice a change. The work that used to take 3 hours will get done in 1. You'll start finishing tasks without the stress. Your thinking will become more clear. You won't just be busy, you'll be effective. And that difference alone can transform your entire life. Most people struggle not because they're lazy, but because they spend their best energy on things that don't require it. They push their most important work to the afternoon or evening when they're already drained. And then they wonder why they feel stuck, tired, and unmotivated. Energy is not unlimited. Focus fades. That's why timing matters. When you match your most valuable work with your highest energy, you get momentum. You get real progress. You stop fighting your mind and start using it the way it was designed to work. And that's a game changer. This is what winners do. They know their peak times. They schedule around them. They don't rely on willpower to push through every hour. They build a system that brings out their best naturally. They know when to sprint and when to rest. And that rhythm, once it's locked in, makes them unstoppable. You don't need to work harder. You need to work smarter. And smart work means respecting your natural strengths. That means saying no to tasks that can wait. That means blocking out time on your calendar that's just for focused work. That means setting boundaries with people who constantly interrupt. Not because you're trying to be rude, but because your attention is limited and you're serious about your goals. Your schedule should reflect your priorities. If something really matters to you, it should be getting your best energy. It shouldn't be squeezed in between distractions or buried at the end of the day. It should be front and center, protected by time blocks, backed by clear intention, and guarded like a valuable asset. Because that's what it is. And once you build that habit, once you start scheduling around your peak hours, you'll notice something powerful. You'll stop feeling like you're constantly behind. You'll stop rushing. You'll feel more in control. You'll stop finishing the right things instead of just doing random things. You'll stop surviving your schedule and start using it as a tool to build the life you actually want. This takes discipline. It takes honesty. It takes letting go of the idea that you can just fit things in whenever. You're not built to operate at the same level all day. Nobody is. You've got to work with your energy, not against it. And the sooner you build that into your routine, the sooner everything else starts to improve. Your work gets better, your stress gets lower, your results get stronger. And here's the best part. You don't need to change your whole life to start this. You just need to block out one window of time, one stretch of your day that you claim as yours. You wake up, you know when it is, and you protect it. And you do this every day until it becomes automatic. That's how routines are built. That's how success gets anchored. Success isn't just about what you do, it's about when you do it. And when you finally align your actions with your peak energy, you start unlocking the version of yourself that's been buried under noise and stress. You think better, you feel better, you become better. Build your day around your best hours. Respect your brain's rhythm. Make your schedule a reflection of your highest priorities, because when you do that, you stop reacting and start leading. You stop drifting and start deciding. And that decision, repeated over time, creates a life that looks like the one you've been aiming for. Start today. Find your focus hours, use them, protect them, and let them guide your best work every single day. Chapter 6. Show up at the same time every single day. Consistency is what separates people who talk from people who build. It's not about how talented you are. It's not about how excited you feel. It's about how often you show up. If you're serious about changing your life, you need to stop relying on motivation and start building habits. And one of the strongest habits you can build is showing up at the same time every single day. It's not just about getting work done. It's about training your mind to respect discipline over emotion. It's about building rhythm, structure, and trust with yourself. When you wake up and show up at the same time every day, you start sending a message to your brain. I'm in control. Not my feelings, not my mood, not outside circumstances. Me. I'm the one running the day. Most people live by emotion. If they feel tired, they skip the work. If they don't feel inspired, they wait for a better moment. That kind of thinking leads to a scattered life. 1 day of effort followed by 3 days of delay. That pattern kills progress. It breaks trust. It builds a life that's full of stops and starts but never momentum. Momentum only comes from repetition, not grand actions, simple, small decisions done over and over. Winners aren't always the most talented, they're just the most consistent. They don't miss. They don't negotiate. They decide once, and then they commit. They understand that discipline begins with showing up before results appear, before rewards arrive, before the feeling of confidence kicks in. They show up because it's time to show up. That's it. When you work at the same time every day, something starts to shift inside you. Your body gets into rhythm. Your mind begins to prepare itself before the work even starts. You stop wasting time getting ready and you start entering the work zone faster. That's not luck. That's routine doing its job. You'll find that you don't have to push yourself so hard anymore, because once your brain knows it's time to go, it stops resisting. This is why routines are so powerful. They free you from decision fatigue. They simplify your day. You don't wake up wondering when you'll start, you already know. That clarity saves energy, it reduces stress. It gives you mental space to focus on what matters. Instead of chasing productivity hacks, you simply keep your promise. I show up at this time, every day, no matter what. And this doesn't just apply to work, this applies to anything that matters. Your health, your learning, your personal growth. If you only exercise when you feel like it, how strong will you get? If you only study when you feel inspired, how much will you retain? The same goes for building anything valuable. You must make time your ally by making your effort predictable. If success is a destination, routine is the vehicle that gets you there. Slow, steady, but guaranteed. At first it's going to be uncomfortable. Your mind will try to talk you out of it. It'll give you reasons to delay. It'll tell you you're too tired, too stressed, that today isn't the day, that you'll be better tomorrow. But you already know that voice. You've heard it before, and if you keep listening to it, it will cost you another week, another month, another year. You don't need perfect conditions. You need a time you commit to, and when that time comes, you begin. You don't wait for energy. You don't wait for motivation. You train yourself to move because it's time. You show up even when it's cold, even when it's hard, even when you're unsure. Because that action, that one move, builds something inside of you that can't be taken away. You begin to believe in yourself, not because you're achieving everything all at once, but because you're doing what most people avoid, being consistent without applause. You might not see results right away. That's normal, but something better is happening. You're forming an identity. You're becoming someone who can be counted on. You're building mental strength. You're showing yourself that you can follow through. And when that becomes who you are, success becomes automatic. You no longer have to chase it. It starts coming to you because consistency always creates compound growth, and that's what most people never understand. They chase intensity, they want big wins fast, but it's not the one intense session that builds your future. It's the quiet, repeated decision to show up again and again and again. 1 hour a day, every day, for a year, beats 10 hours of chaos followed by burnout. The difference isn't in effort, it's in stability. Winners win because they refuse to disappear. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be present. You don't have to get everything done in one day. You just have to return to the work at the time you said you would. That habit alone will take you further than most people ever go. And once you've trained yourself to keep that rhythm, it will carry you through the hard days, through the distractions, through the seasons of doubt. This is how you earn progress without chasing it. You get up, you start at your scheduled time, you do the work, and then you repeat. Not because you're trying to prove anything, not because you're waiting for recognition, but because this is the life you chose to build, a life of structure, a life of commitment. A life where every day adds something meaningful to your future. The moment you stop depending on how you feel and start depending on your routine, your entire life changes. You stop giving up. You stop breaking promises to yourself. You stop waking up wondering where the time went. You take control. You become predictable to yourself. You become dependable. And when you become dependable, people start to trust you, opportunities start to find you, growth starts to follow you. So build this habit, set the time, stick to it. Don't argue with it, don't move it around, don't wait for permission, just show up and then keep showing up. Even when it's boring, even when it's quiet, even when nobody's watching, that's where the real work is done. That's where mastery begins. That's where your new life is born, on schedule, without compromise, every single day. Chapter 7. Prioritize impact over effort with every decision. Most people stay busy but few make progress. They confuse effort with impact. They work long hours, chase endless tasks, fill their days with movement but not direction. They feel tired, but they don't feel fulfilled. They're always doing something, but rarely the thing that actually changes their life. If you want to rise above average, you have to shift your thinking. You have to stop asking, "What can I do today?" and start asking, "What truly matters today?" That's the difference between noise and growth. That's the shift from effort to impact. Effort feels good. It gives you a sense of motion. But not all motion leads to meaning. Not every task deserves your time. Not every problem needs your attention. And if you keep measuring your day by how hard you worked instead of how smart you worked, you'll always be exhausted and rarely effective. Winners don't just work hard, they work on the right things. They don't chase sweat, they chase results. They know that real change happens when you learn to choose powerfully, not just work endlessly. Every decision you make is a choice between something that fills time and something that moves you forward. When you prioritize impact, you stop wasting your energy on things that don't build anything. You begin to recognize that doing more is not the same as doing what matters. That's when you start taking control of your life. That's when every hour begins to count for something. You've got to get ruthless with your choices. Before you commit to any task, ask yourself, will this create real change? If the answer is no, you don't do it. Not because it's bad, but because it's not worth your energy. Your energy is limited, your focus is limited, and your time, whether you like it or not, is running out. You can't afford to waste it trying to please everyone, trying to do everything, trying to finish every small task that screams for your attention. Most of those things are noise. You need to go after what creates value. The highest performers in the world are not busy all the time. They're strategic. They work in clear, deliberate blocks. They take action on things that produce a real return. They're not interested in looking productive. They're committed to becoming effective. That means saying no more often. That means cutting out the things that drain energy without delivering results. It means facing the truth about how you're spending your time and deciding to upgrade your decisions. Effort is easy to measure, but impact takes more awareness. It takes discipline. It takes slowing down for a moment and thinking before you act. That thinking, that pause, is where greatness begins. Most people rush into action without clarity, and so they end up fixing problems that don't matter, answering questions that don't change anything, doing work that doesn't get noticed. But the one who stops, thinks, and then acts with precision, that's the one who moves faster, climbs higher, and stays ahead. Start by looking at your typical day. What do you spend the most time doing? What gets the majority of your attention? Is it something that actually pushes your life forward, or is it something that keeps you stuck in a loop of busy work? Are you checking boxes that feel satisfying, but don't bring real results? Be honest with yourself, because if you want to grow, you need to know where your time is leaking. You don't need a longer to-do list. You need a shorter, smarter one. You need to rank your tasks by value, not difficulty. Some of the most important things you can do in a day are not the hardest. They are the ones with the most leverage. The conversation that unlocks a new opportunity, the strategy that brings clarity to your next move, the planning that prevents chaos, the decision that eliminates 10 other decisions. That's impact. And it always outweighs effort. Your goal is not to finish the most tasks. Your goal is to finish the right tasks. Even one high-impact action done with full focus can shift your momentum. It can solve problems you've been stuck on for weeks. It can bring opportunities you didn't expect. But you only get there if you slow down enough to choose what matters. This mindset changes how you start your day. Instead of asking, "What do I feel like doing?" you ask, What will move me forward? That one question removes 1,000 distractions. It clears the fog. It gives you direction, because you stop acting based on pressure and start acting based on purpose. And purpose isn't always loud. Sometimes it looks like turning down an invitation. Sometimes it looks like sitting in silence and planning. Sometimes it looks like saying no to a task that feels urgent but doesn't align with your goals. And that kind of decision, choosing impact over appearance, that's the difference between staying busy and becoming successful. Real productivity doesn't leave you burned out, it leaves you fulfilled. Because it's not built on endless hustle, it's built on clear choices. It's built on understanding your mission and aligning your actions with it. That means asking hard questions. That means cutting out habits that feel familiar but keep you average. That means showing yourself that your time is too valuable to waste on things that don't build the life you want. Every day you're making choices that shape your future. And every one of those choices is an opportunity to shift your path. You can take the easy road, filled with constant motion and little gain, or you can take the powerful road where every step is chosen, every hour is invested, every task has weight. That's where fulfillment lives. That's where results come from. That's where your best self begins to take form. Stop chasing the feeling of effort. Start chasing the outcome that matters. Don't just fill your day, build something with it. Protect your energy, guard your focus, respect your own time. Make decisions that honor the future you're trying to create. Because when you do that, your life becomes sharper, cleaner, and stronger. You stop drifting, you start building, and what you build from that mindset will last. Chapter 8. Remove weak habits that kill your mental energy. Your habits are either building your mental power or draining it. Every single day, your choices either protect your energy or weaken it. And the hard truth is, most people are held back not by what they lack, but by what they keep doing that works against them. Weak habits are silent killers. They don't scream, they don't attack, they slowly chip away at your focus, your clarity, your discipline. They seem small in the moment, but over time they rob you of the strength you need to move forward. If you want to be sharp, consistent, and strong-minded, you have to remove the habits that are killing your mental energy. Start paying attention to how you feel after you do certain things. Notice what drains you, even if it seems harmless. Scrolling your phone the moment you wake up, checking messages every few minutes, switching tasks without finishing one, leaving your workspace messy, starting the day without a clear plan. These things seem normal, but they train your brain to stay scattered and reactive. And when your brain is constantly switching gears, it loses depth. You don't just lose time, you lose clarity, creativity, and the ability to think deeply. Weak habits don't just waste time, they wear you down. They leave you mentally tired without anything meaningful to show for it. And the worst part is, they often go unnoticed. People live in a loop of habits they never question. They confuse activity with productivity. They normalize stress. They forget what deep focus feels like because they're always dealing with the after effects of the distractions they allow into their lives. You don't fix this by working harder. You fix it by clearing space. That means removing the routines that offer short-term comfort but long-term chaos. That means noticing the things you keep doing that leave you feeling stuck, anxious, or drained. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be honest. Ask yourself, what habits make me feel weaker afterward? What patterns do I repeat that add nothing to my growth? And then, make the decision to replace those actions with habits that restore you, that challenge you, that move you forward. Replacing weak habits starts with clarity. You can't change what you don't recognize. So track your behaviors for a few days. Don't judge them, just observe them. Write down the things you do that waste your time or pull you out of focus, and then ask why you keep doing them. Is it boredom? Is it fear? Is it avoidance? Once you know the reason, you can address it. You can create better options. Strong habits aren't built by force, they're built by design. Start with one. Don't try to change everything at once. That's not discipline. That's chaos. Choose one weak habit that you know is costing you and replace it with one that builds strength. If you wake up and reach for your phone, replace that with 5 minutes of stillness. If you end your day with mindless browsing, replace it with a simple journal. If you keep reacting to messages all day, schedule fixed times to respond. Small actions done with intention will reset your mind and help you reclaim your energy. And don't just focus on the obvious. Some weak habits are mental, not physical. Negative self-talk, overthinking, constant comparison, doubting your abilities before you start. These are just as destructive as any external distraction. They create a loop of hesitation and fear that eats away at your confidence. You have to learn to interrupt that pattern. When a thought shows up that weakens you, you don't feed it, you don't argue with it, you replace it. You speak the truth. I'm in control of my choices. I'm here to grow. I act even when I don't feel ready. Mental energy is your greatest asset. It fuels your focus, your drive, your creativity. But it's fragile. It must be protected, and protection starts with elimination. Remove what doesn't serve you. Be aggressive with the things that drain you. Most people are too passive with their time and too accepting of their patterns. You don't have to live like that. You can take back control. You can make your life reflect your strength by making your habits match your goals. Energy management is self-respect. When you say no to a weak habit, you're not just avoiding something. You're saying yes to a clearer, stronger, more capable version of yourself. You're making room for the work that actually matters. You're giving your future the attention it deserves. That's what growth looks like. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's small, quiet, consistent actions that rebuild your mindset day by day. You'll feel the shift. You'll notice your mind getting quieter, your decisions becoming faster, your days feeling lighter, because you've stopped carrying the weight of habits that don't belong. You'll wake up with more clarity. You'll move with more confidence, not because life is easier, but because you've removed what used to make it harder. This is how mental strength is built, not in bursts of motivation, but in the removal of what weakens you. One habit at a time, one choice at a time. You don't need a complete overhaul, you need consistent upgrades, and those upgrades begin the moment you stop tolerating what drains you and start choosing what strengthens you. You're not a machine. You don't have endless energy, but you do have control. And with that control, you can build a day, a system, a life that works with your mind instead of against it. Cut out the weak habits. Honor your focus. Respect your mind. That's how you become sharper, stronger, and more unshakable every single day. Chapter 9. Stop multitasking and give full power to one thing. Multitasking is one of the biggest lies people tell themselves. They think they're doing more, covering more ground, getting ahead by juggling everything at once. But the truth is, every time you switch your focus, you're not doubling your productivity. You're cutting it in half. Your brain isn't built to handle multiple important tasks at the same time. What it does is bounce from one thing to the next, back and forth. And with each jump you lose time, energy, and clarity. You don't just slow down, you create shallow work that leaves no impact. If you want to perform at your highest level, you need to stop splitting your attention and start giving your full power to one thing at a time. People wear multitasking like a badge. They say they can handle 10 things at once. But the real question is, How well are you handling them? Half-finished thoughts, half-hearted work, scattered results. That's what multitasking delivers. You might feel busy, but you rarely feel fulfilled, because nothing you do reaches its full potential, nothing gets your full presence. And the cost isn't just in quality, it's in mental exhaustion. The more you divide your focus, the faster you drain your energy. When you focus on one thing, something different happens. Your thoughts go deeper, your pace becomes smoother, you start to see things clearly, you stop rushing and start engaging. That kind of attention is powerful, it's rare, and that's why it produces better outcomes. Whether you're writing, planning, learning, solving a problem, or having a conversation, when you bring your whole mind into the moment, everything improves. You get more done in less time, and the work is stronger because you are fully there. Giving full power to one thing doesn't mean you do less. It means you do what matters better. It means you stop jumping around, stop reacting to every ping, stop letting the world break your rhythm every few minutes, because every time you break focus, it takes real time to get back in. You don't just pick up where you left off. You have to re-enter the zone, reconnect your thoughts, rebuild your flow. That's time wasted, and over the course of a day, a week, a year, that wasted time adds up to missed opportunities and watered down effort. You need to train your mind to go deep again. In a world that rewards speed and noise, depth is your advantage. Start with one task. Block everything else out. Turn off notifications. Set a timer. Tell yourself, this is the only thing I'm doing right now. Then go. Stay with it, even when your brain tries to escape, even when you feel the pull to check something else. Resist that urge, because every time you resist, you build mental strength. You teach your mind that focus is your new default, not distraction. This isn't about being perfect. You're human. Your thoughts will drift, but when they do, you bring them back, again and again. That act of returning, of choosing to stay with the task, that's where the power comes from. It's not about never losing focus. It's about training yourself to come back faster every time. That's how you sharpen your edge. That's how you create real progress. You'll notice the difference almost immediately. Your mind will feel calmer. Your thoughts will become more organized. You'll stop ending your day wondering where the time went, because you'll know exactly what you did. You were present. You were committed. You gave your full energy to something real. And that experience of deep focus, it's satisfying. It creates a quiet kind of confidence that multitasking never gives. Most people think they don't have enough time, but the truth is, they're just leaking it through distractions. If you stopped multitasking and just focused fully, even for 2 or 3 hours a day, you'd get more done than most people do in 10. It's not about hours worked, it's about quality of focus. You could sit at your desk for 10 hours and still leave with nothing meaningful done if you spent that time bouncing from one task to another. So stop spreading your mind thin. Start choosing with intention. Ask yourself, what's the one thing that deserves my full attention right now? Then give it. Block everything else. Don't negotiate. Don't make excuses. Build the habit of deep, undivided work. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Because once you learn how to focus, you gain an edge that most people never develop. And it's not just about work. This matters in every part of life. When you're talking to someone, be there. Don't half listen while checking your phone. When you're resting, rest. Don't scroll, don't stress, just disconnect and recharge. When you're learning, study with intention. Don't multitask your way through growth. Give every moment the respect it deserves, and life starts to feel richer. You become more efficient not by cramming more into your schedule, but by doing fewer things better. That's how you create space for the work that actually moves your life forward. That's how you stop feeling overwhelmed. That's how you stop chasing time and start owning it. Focus is a decision. You either protect it or you give it away. You either make space for deep work or let the world interrupt you into weakness. But once you decide to stop multitasking, once you experience what it feels like to do one thing with full energy, you won't want to go back. You'll see how much clearer your thinking becomes. You'll feel the power of being all in. And from that place, your results will rise. Your confidence will grow. Your discipline will expand. One thing at a time. That's the path. Not because it's trendy, not because it sounds good, but because it works. It works every time. It always has. The most productive people in the world are not the ones doing the most things. They're the ones who know how to lock in, stay there, and finish with strength. That's what it means to work like a winner. That's what it means to give your full power to one thing. Chapter 10. Choose progress over perfection every single time. Perfection is the enemy of progress. It convinces people to wait, to delay, to hesitate. It makes you believe that unless everything is just right, you shouldn't take the next step. And that mindset is exactly what keeps so many people stuck. They have the talent, they have the ideas, they even have the desire, but they don't move forward because they're too busy trying to get everything perfect. What they don't see is that nothing gets perfected without progress. You have to move to get better. You have to try, fail, adjust, and improve. That's how growth works. That's how winners are built. Too many people chase perfect results and end up doing nothing at all. They rewrite the same page, rethink the same decision, redesign the same plan, all in the name of perfection. But while they're busy polishing, someone else is taking action, someone else is making progress, someone else is getting better because they're moving. You don't get results from standing still and planning. You get results by stepping into the process, making the mistakes and learning on the way up. Progress builds momentum. Each action teaches you something. Each move forward, even if it's messy, adds a layer of experience that perfection could never give you. You don't become excellent by waiting for everything to align. You become excellent by getting in the game, showing up and doing the work, even when it's not perfect. Especially when it's not perfect, because those are the moments that sharpen your resilience and show you what you're really made of. Chasing perfection creates fear. It makes you afraid of failing, afraid of looking bad, afraid of falling short. But progress gives you freedom. It says, I don't need to be perfect, I just need to be better than I was yesterday. That mindset takes the pressure off. It removes the weight of expectation. It gives you permission to be human and to keep moving forward no matter how rough the start is. You'll never feel fully ready. You'll never reach a point where everything is flawless. But if you wait for that moment, you'll miss out on the growth that only happens through doing. You have to let go of perfection to grab onto progress. Because every time you move forward, even if it's small, you create motion. And motion is what changes your life. Think about anything meaningful you've ever done. Was it perfect from the beginning? Probably not. But you did it anyway, and by doing it, you improved. That's the pattern you need to follow every day. Not flawless execution, but consistent movement. Not the best outcome, but a better effort. That's what builds confidence. That's what creates results. Progress is also measurable. You can see it, you can track it, you can build on it. Perfection is vague. It's undefined. It always moves the finish line. That's why it's dangerous. It gives you something to chase that you can never reach. But progress is real. You can feel it in your mindset. You can see it in your habits. You can track it in your results. You just have to be honest with yourself and ask, did I grow today? Did I improve even by 1%? If the answer is yes, you're winning. Don't confuse progress with ease. Some days will feel heavy, some efforts won't pay off right away. But progress doesn't mean perfect results. It means you showed up and gave what you had. And that matters. That counts. That builds character. It builds habits that stick. Because you're not just doing something when it's easy, you're doing it because it's part of who you're becoming. Perfection will always give you a reason to delay. It will always say, just wait a little longer. But progress will say, start with what you've got. And that's the voice you need to follow. Because the people who change their lives are not the ones who wait. They're the ones who move with what they have and trust that they'll figure the rest out along the way. When you start choosing progress, everything begins to shift. Your stress drops, your confidence rises, you stop being so hard on yourself. You stop measuring your worth by the result and start measuring it by your effort. And that shift, that one change in how you think, can transform your entire approach to life. You stop chasing the perfect moment. You start creating better moments. You stop waiting to feel perfect and start using what you've got. You stop hiding behind the fear of not being enough and start proving to yourself that you already have what it takes to move forward. That's the power of progress. It puts you in motion and keeps you in motion. And this doesn't mean you stop aiming high. It doesn't mean you settle. It means you build your way up. You raise the standard over time, not all at once. You build strong by being consistent, not by trying to be flawless from the beginning. The foundation of success is not perfection, it's progress